Alright, subframe connectors. Finally, an in-depth video on how to do this. Now I have to do this in two parts. I've got these in here, got them installed, put everything together, and this video was long. So I'm going to do it in two parts, two 30-minute parts. That's still too long. But for some people, they may want a more in-depth explanation for it. So here we go. Here's part one. All right, we're gonna get started on these right here. This will get them out of the floor. I'm gonna go ahead and start prepping them. Now, the first thing I do is I box these in right here. Now I'll show you what I got here. Now, if you can go buy a piece of flat stock, go buy a piece of flat stock, 1.25 inch, that'd be perfect. But this, I just have this laying around. This is probably close to 1/8 inch thick steel. And what I did, it's galvanized too, so it's gonna taste nice while it's welding. I just set it up there, marked it. I kept doing that. Now I'm gonna cut this lip off here, and then I'm gonna cut them up in pieces. That was eventful. All right, got that cut off. Now I'm just gonna cut it one piece at a time, and I had to keep moving my vise. All right, I got my pieces. All right, that's gonna be perfect. You know, double check every piece, that's gonna be perfect. 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 All right, let's get the welder ready. All right, now if you notice, I got my ground on, welder's on, set. Now, always be safe. I'm wearing one glove. I can't use a welder with a glove on. I got my ground on, got my piece ready. Now listen, this is galvanized, so the gases off of it are going to be toxic. So I'm just kind of hold my breath. Now I don't have any way to hide the light, so keep that in mind. It's bright. You see that white residue? That's basically just toxic gas burning off there. Basically, I just dress it up with a grinder. Now, I'm gonna move this kind of back and away from me. You notice how I kind of stopped midway? I felt like I was about to burn through. All right, that's that side. All right, moving over to this side. Now the reason I'm welding the corners down first, because as you weld this, even that small piece can start warping and rolling up. This keeps the corners down. Now I'm gonna slide him back. As you can hear it getting kind of nasty at the end. That's just as that steel gets hot and that galvanized is burning off that steel. It's not an ideal situation, but you know, next step is to grind it down. Then I'm gonna wash these pieces and then we're gonna prime them. All right, in case you're wondering what I'm using. Now I bought this welder, I think in 2007, 2008. It's just a Lincoln 140. Now I've had good luck out of it, and I've only run 2 10-pound spools and a 2-pound spool that it came with through this machine. All right, got me some new 36 grit disc. Now these orange ones, they're not very good. If you can find some of the red ones or the green ones, they work a lot better. But I was told that these are awesome. I was lied to. Now, since I preach safety, I'm gonna wear a face shield. To be honest with you, I usually don't. But for the sake of it, I might save my eye today. Who knows? And I might see one here. Pretty good. So basically, y'all kind of get the point. What I'm doing here, but and I'm not doing this for strength. That's not the main objective here, by no means. I just want them to last. I went and looked at a Mustang. I've looked at 2 Mustangs that has had these subframe connectors. One, they looked exactly like these. The other ones was more the straighter ones. And they had pinholes rotted through them. Like, there was holes in it. They're, you know, at that point, they're no good. They're no good. Well, cutting them off the existing, you know, cutting them off the factory frame rails, that's not easy to do. So, this is one of my main objectives for doing stuff like this. Now, my little white coupe, I did box them in. That car right there, I did not box them in. That car, I boxed them in. I boxed them in on two. I didn't box them in on the other one. All right. I tell you what, y'all don't need to see this one. All right, they're boxed in, and I was able to do that with one little disc. Now, I am going to wash these down and prime. All right, next order of business. As you can see, it's wet. I just spray it with some degreaser. It says spray power. As you can see, it's mean green. So, I think simple green's actually better. But this is, you know, to wipe off any residual oil. You know, spray it down real good. It don't take a lot if you know you're using like Rust-Oleum etching primer. That stuff will stick to anything. It's actually really good stuff, and that's what I'm going to use on this. I hope I have enough. If not, I will be making a quick trip to the hardware store. Now here's another thing you're gonna watch me have to do. I'm gonna have to clean my press off. They don't bend these correctly. Only reason I know that, my white coupe is about as straight as you can get. And it didn't fit the frame rails very good. Now, and that 79 behind the camera here, never been wrecked, all original, solid old car. I have to tweak these on the press. Now I have seen people weld one side on and take a jack and jack the other side up to meet the frame rail, to make it stiffer. And maybe that's the way you're supposed to do it, but I don't agree with that because I did that to that hatch over there. And my doors didn't shut right after that. So, just, you know, and I only jacked it up like an inch. You know, weld the one side on, push the back up about an inch. No big deal. All right, now I'm gonna primer the top first. I'm gonna let them dry. Good. This is what I use. Self-etching primer, and it's like a green color. Stuff works great. I have to turn on the exhaust fan here in a minute. That's gonna drive crazy. You'll hear Macy here in a minute start sneezing like crazy and leave. She don't like the paint fumes, which I don't blame her. There she goes. Tell you what, y'all just bear with me. I'm gonna turn the fan on. I don't want her miserable. Sorry about the noise. I do care about my dog. So I almost forgot about these. there's anything I like about these subframe connectors, it definitely firms the seat up, you know. I tell you what, I thought about figuring out a way to make my own, but no more than what these cost and the amount of time it'd take to make it. If it was just those long pieces, I could make it, and honestly, if it's just this, I could make it. These right here would be somewhat difficult. So, alright. Yeah, let's just try that. A lot of this primer is going to burn off whenever you weld it on there. Yeah. Alright, just wait for that to dry as well, and then I'll flip them. Looks like the other ones are ready to go. Let me. Yep. This stuff does dry fast, but I don't think I got enough primer to do it. I just don't. Alright, I think this is set up fairly decent. So let me show you. If you look right there, that's about an inch. About an inch away. So this, I have to straighten this right here. So if you push it hard up against this frame, this needs to come up closer to that. Now what is kind of odd about this particular situation is this one. So I have to see, this looks, ain't none of these are bent the same whatsoever. This one might be a bit of a challenge. Yeah. Basically, I just got to straighten this out a little bit more. You see how I put this rubber on this fuel line because I knew it was going to be pretty much right up against this frame tie. I think on my other ones, I had them all the way up to the front. And right there, yeah, that right there is where it needs to be. At the end of that right there, that's where my plate comes to an end. So I just gotta, I'm gonna put this on the press and straighten this out just a fuzz right here and see what kind of response we get here. All right, so I took the press, straightened it out a little bit. We'll take a look at it and see how it looks. All right, so we got one piece bent, fits good, and I'll show you that in a minute. But I do got an idea. It's getting late on me. We're going to Langston tomorrow. I'm going to measure this tubing. I'm going to buy enough of this stuff. I'm going to try and make a set of these on my own. Now, I don't anticipate them to be as good as these, but I'm going to do my best. So I'm going to go see if I can buy me a stick of this, have them cut it for me. And I have the flat stuff to make the, you know, the plates. But I'm going to try to make me a set. And I'm going to have them match. Once I get these fitting, I want to have them match what I've done. Because I still have a couple cars that needs these frame ties. And I'll be honest with you, these things don't cost about 140 bucks, something like that. It's almost not worth trying to make them. But the amount of effort that you put into these, I got to thinking about, maybe we'll try to make them. Guys, I'm going to call it a night. I'll finish this up later. Peace. Hey guys, welcome back. Next day, next evening. I'm actually starting to work after work now. So we might start getting some stuff done. Now mind you, I'm only getting a little bit of it done at a time. Problem still. Now, let me show you a little something here. All right guys, bear with me a little bit. Now if you look, see that? Now notice, I don't have it pushed up against here. Now I'm going to show you. Just barely jack it up there. I'm not putting any pressure on it whatsoever. Alright. Do you see that? God. it's up against there. And it's right where we want it to be. Now, if you notice, there's a little bit of a gap there, which is perfect because I got a plate that goes under it. So basically, you see it, it's in place. Now, what we'll do is I'll take a magic marker and say like I'll mark there and mark there. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna wash this rail the best I can with some wax and grease remover, or you know, whatever, mean green. Spray it down, wipe it down, and then I'm gonna mark where I'm gonna weld here. I'm gonna mark where those tabs are at. Now me, honestly, I don't really care about the tabs because I literally will weld it as much as I can down through here. Because to me, you weld all this, big deal. This is your strength right here, a piece of sheet metal. So I weld the frame to the frame. And that's one reason I say they're hard to get apart. And that's why I go with extra pains to get these things to fit right the first time. I've got to get the right one to go right here that goes across right there. And then I'll mark this with a marker. And then everywhere I mark with a marker, I'm going to grind it because you got to have clean metal to weld. And more than likely, I'll probably just like grind a bare spot right there on this side so I can easily go back and put my welder on it or my ground clamp, and it'll be out of my way from everything that I'm welding. But I've got to weld that plate on here all the way around. It's not that big of a deal. I don't have a lift, and I've done several of these. And it's, you know, honestly, I think every Mustang should have one. The best thing I like about it is I've got a decent place to put a jack. All right, you see this right here? I'm gonna cut this right here. I might even remove this piece, but it literally, as much as it is welded to this right here, I'm not even sure what they were doing here, but I'm gonna go ahead and remove this piece right here. Get out of the way for the frame tie. Now, if you remember when I showed you, look how much straighter it should have been and how much more they've got the other one bent. I do have the same problem here. Now, essentially what I would do is I'd just go ahead and bend it to match this one, but I'm not sure if I got a good video of showing you all how bad off it was, so I'm gonna do that right now. All right, now, so basically I flushed this side up with the brackets. I got a little jack. Now I just barely put a little pressure on it, and you see how far away it is. Now the first ones I installed, I put it on, I welded it on, I took a bottle jack, and I pressed this thing up there. And now there's a plate that goes here, you'll right here, and you'll see that. And then I had to, I forced it up with the thing, you know, basically bent it with the jack, welded it on. And I'm gonna tell you, my doors tried to drag. Now I had to cut them back loose. And that's when I was like, okay, I see what we gotta do here. But this is the main, this one straightens out the most. This one straightens out a little. So basically we're gonna straighten this out almost straight. Then we're gonna tweak this one just a fuzz. Now I'm looking for about 1/8 of an inch clearance here. And then that'll be right. Now once I get this thing pre-bent, we'll start marking where we're gonna grind. All right, so my first bend is gonna be this one right here. It just needs slightly tweaked. And just a little something there to kind of buffer the, you know, I don't want to put a big round circle in it. I'm going to tweak it a little bit at a time. Because I'm telling you, it don't take much, and it ain't no fun bending it back the other way. All right, so we got a little pressure on it. I think we'll try that right there and see how she does. So it's actually really close. It don't need to come down much more from that. All right, that looks maybe a little smidge there. Just a fuzz. Like, it's so close. I'm afraid that I'm gonna go too far with it. That looks about right. Sorry, I'm carrying this whole stand and everything, but that right there is pretty close. That looks really good. So now you see how bad the back is actually off. This one has to get about completely straight. That's next. All right, let's go ahead and get this last one out of the way. As you've seen, it gets quite a bit more. Got a bit more arch on it than that other one does. That looks pretty close right there. I did draw out a template to make some more. I mean, I'm not reselling, so it's not like they can get me for anything. All right, let's see what we got here. It's really close. Just a fuzz more. Like I said, you almost gotta take it to where she's flat. I think it's got it right there. I mean, she comes up quite a bit still. So she looks like a decent match to me. And now those subframe connectors will fit this car. Let's test fit it. All right, so like I said, I'm just slowly jacking this thing up. Nothing big. Once I get it close, I'm gonna square up those tabs. Like that. I want them firm against. All right, so we have pressure on it, and that's what I'm looking for right there. So she is a fit. Now I've got to get this, now we got to fit this piece over here, mark this, and I'll show you how I do that. Basically, I'm going to put this piece up here and then mark this with a marker and grind it. Then I'm going to bolt that back up here and put this back in place. Then I'm going to tack weld it. But you'll see what I'm talking about. Alright, now that you've seen, I had everything fitted. I bought some of that hammer tone Rust-Oleum. Man, it really makes these things look pretty good. Now, I didn't obviously record when I sprayed them. I didn't really feel that big of a need to. Now, I painted this is the insides of these. This is going to go inside because you're going to weld the perimeter. And I want as much protection on the inside of those as possible. Both of them. And these as well. The inside and outside of them. Now what I'll do here is I'll bolt these in place. And then what I'll do, I'm just going to grind all the way around the openings. Like so. And then of course I'll mark this where they're gonna go, and I'll grind that, and then I'll tack weld them into place. Then I'm gonna pull them out here and weld them up, and I'm gonna show you that too. And then we'll repaint them again. We'll just paint around this, that is. And then the final touches, I'm gonna grind the the sides of these. That way we've got a good solid weld where we want to weld. So guys, we're almost ready to install these things. Now if you'll notice here, quite a bit of new steel. Now actually my nephew picked them up for me, but I ordered them online. And I ordered enough steel to make 2 more sets. And I went ahead and marked this one where the bends are gonna go. Now before I set these in here, while this is drying, I'm gonna bend one of these. Now you're not gonna see that in this video, but I am gonna make a video on me making my own set, and I'll give you the dimensions and all that other good stuff, and I'll show you pictures of how I did this, and we'll go from there. So that in case you wanna make your own, but I wanna tell you something. It's gonna be time consuming. If you was just gonna make 1 set, not worth it. But I'm gonna make 2 sets. And I'll just tell you, I have as much and enough steel to make 2 sets as I have to buy 1 of these. Now, labor is something to consider. So, but anyway, we're gonna talk about that. We're gonna get ready to mock these up, and we're gonna start welding here shortly. All right, hope you enjoyed part 1. Now it's time to start part 2, and that's when we start welding them in there. Be looking for that video. Guys, have a good one. Peace.